Hey everyone, we're back. This is Soak It Up. I'm Maria Zepeda, and today I'm here with Nicole Takemoto. And we've been super excited to do this. We actually tried to do it a few hours ago, but some tech issues came up, which is always fun. But we're finally here, so I'm very excited. I've got a lot of questions for you, Nicole, and I'm going to start with one that I really want to start adding into all of my episodes. What is your favorite Bible verse, if you have one?
Oh, I have several, but I love
That's
Jeremiah.
great. Yes.
Yeah, Jeremiah 29:11, which
Okay.
is, I know the plans I have for you to give you a hope and a future, not to harm you, but to prosper you.
That one is so good. I do like that one as well. And I have a lot too. I have them saved in my Bible app. There's just whenever I'm down or just feeling low on myself or life and things, just I have tons of Bible verses saved that are really, really great. But yeah, that's just the question that I want to start adding into the episodes just because I think it's so cool to hear like what all the favorite Bible verses are, and I can add them to my list as well, which is really fun. So I'd like to start and kind of get to know you a little bit. How long have you been acting for?
Oh boy, I
Oh,
started performing when I was a child at 6 years old. I was
oh
a ballerina, which I love.
my
At
goodness.
the time, my parents couldn't afford ballet lessons, so we cleaned every Sunday. Our whole family would go over and clean the gym, this gymnastics studio. My little brother took gymnastics.
Okay.
So we'd invite friends, and they all loved to help clean because at the end they jump in the gymnastics on the trampolines and everything. They had a blast. So I started ballet when I was 6, and I was on point when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
Yes, so I was always in front of an audience. And then what happened was in English class, I was sick and I missed the assignment. So my English teacher told me, you need to memorize a soliloquy from Romeo and Juliet because we're studying Romeo and Juliet. Play Juliet. And I said, what? So I memorized the soliloquy of Juliet and performed it. And the guy that always gets the leads in all the plays came up to me. He said, you should be an actress. You're really good. I said,
Oh
what?
my gosh.
I just loved doing it. It was so fun. And so he said, audition for the Music Man. So I auditioned for the Music Man at the time in 8th grade for the lead. And I got called back. It was between me and another girl, my first audition ever. And I was so nervous. I wanted to do it just
Oh,
I was so
wow.
fearful and shaking. But I thought, oh, this is a good time to overcome my fears. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
how I really started. And I thought, wow, this is really fun.
That's where it all started.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
so cool. Oh my gosh. At what time did you realize that that's something that you wanted to actually pursue professionally?
I think I had a moment there on the stage where I really enjoyed it. That I thought, I could do this. I really love this.
Oh,
Yeah. And I was also a singer and I went to music.
okay.
Yeah. I went to a music camp and I was canvassed by someone there for Performing Arts High School called Idlewild School of Music and the Arts. So I auditioned. And well, first of all, I told my parents about it and they said, no, you're not going, especially my dad. You're not going to Performing Arts High School. I said, yes, I am. And then we were in San Diego. My mom said, let's just audition. So I had 2 hours to
Oh,
memorize a monologue on the drive there and auditioned for it and thought, okay, I'll sing a song as well. So I practiced it in the car on the way and on a whim. And I auditioned and they said they would have given me a full scholarship, but they gave
oh
them
my
away.
gosh.
Yeah. So I
Wow.
said, well, I'm going anyway. And my parents like, well, we can't afford for the initial fee. So I went
Yeah.
around and canvassed at very Rotary clubs and gave speeches and raised money for the initial fee to attend to get into the Performing Arts High School. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, you made it happen. That's so cool. Yeah. Um, that's really cool. I love to hear like how different people got started because I've heard so many different stories of, when that moment is where it just kind of clicks for you. You're like, yeah, this is this is what I want. This is what it's, I'm going to make it happen because it's something you really do. You have to make it happen. You have to go for it. You have to give it your all, especially in this industry. There's so much competition and just a lot of work to get into it and stuff. So it's really cool to hear, all the different stories. So that is really that's a really cool one, different than what I've heard before. But yeah, you and I were both in active actors. That's actually where we met online. So what brought you to that group specifically?
So I was at church and the pastor pointed out this other gentleman and he said, "You two need to get together. God has something for both of you, and especially for
Wow.
you, Nicole." So we spoke afterwards and he told me all about this class and I thought, oh, this is exactly what I'm looking for at the time. So I got involved in the class and then that's which led me to hear about the active actors and the CRT training. So
Yes.
yeah, I was excited. That's
Yeah,
how
that's really cool. I remember when I started Active Actors, it was actually one of my agents who got me in contact with the coach, Jackie. And it was really, I'd done different like online classes before, but it was different than what I'd done before. They're very, they meet several times a week, and you're really always working on your craft, working on bettering it, working on, learning new monologues and things. And I think it's really, really good, especially, working on your craft all the time. It's just so important because you realize the difference between when you don't work on it quite as much and then when you're, consistent with it. It's kind of like working out a muscle, um,
right.
which is really, I've really enjoyed being a part of that class. And I'm really glad that you're a part of that class because we got to meet. But yeah, I have another question. This one's really interesting. So, if the next 5 years of your life were a chapter in a book, what would the title of the chapter be, or what would the chapter be about?
Hmm. Huh.
It's a strange question, but I think it's super fun.
Hmm. Like maybe excursion to the unknown or the tropics, because when you dive into the water, it's unknown, it's scary, it's exciting, it's beautiful, and you're doing the passion, you're doing what you love, and then you get to see there's a whole brand new world that opens up to
Oh
you
my
under the
gosh,
water.
yeah.
Like you're
That's so beautiful.
snorkeling, yeah, and you see the fish, might see a shark, which kind of scares you. And
Yeah.
it's exciting and scary simultaneously, but I definitely think that just having faith to walk the unknown and to step out without knowing, it's very courageous for anyone in life.
Oh my
And
gosh. Yeah.
allow fear to encumber you from pursuing what you truly, truly love. And just do it. Don't waste time and just take that step of faith and jump in the water, dive right in. And it's a lot more exciting than I think people realize rather than to do nothing.
Oh my gosh, I literally love that answer. See, it's like a strange question where you're like, like how do I answer this? But that was such a good answer. I love that. Yeah, you have to just dive in and it's beautiful. Sometimes it's scary, but like you're not going to get to see and experience, all that beauty if, you don't just dive in. So, um I really do love that answer. That's a really good chapter. I'm very excited for you. Yeah. So we actually got to meet in person, which is really cool. I always like to meet people in person. I know now we have, all these digital things like Zoom and Skype and FaceTime and all that stuff, which is super cool. But I love to meet people in person. I think you get to know them, on a different level than if it's just on a screen. So I think it was really cool getting to meet you. We met at the film festival in LA, which was really fun. What from like that whole weekend at the film festival, what was like your favorite part? It was the Africa USA International Film Festival. What was just like your favorite part of that whole experience? It was a whole weekend thing.
Yeah, I would definitely say, well, first of all, I was supposed to be an interpreter to speak French. I know a little French, but I'm not fluent. That was exciting to meet people from
Yeah.
various, from France, from Africa, and get to meet just such a culture. It's to be immersed in that. I felt like in Europe, and I studied abroad. I studied overseas at Oxford in England.
Okay.
Travel to France and various places in Scotland, and I just love cultures. I love people, and it was great meeting you and spending time with you. And
Yeah, we had a great time. That was really cool.
yeah, that was fun. And just meeting the various producers and
Hmm.
directors and people that are artistic and getting together with like minds and sharing ideas,
Yes.
different projects, potential projects that might be coming up, and writers. So that was very, very exciting.
Yeah, just like meeting all the people in person. And yeah, there were a lot of, projects that are, maybe starting to happen now and very exciting. And you don't get that kind of thing, if you don't go out and meet people and just get to know them. And I think a lot of people just kind of clicked together. Like it just really worked really well. And I feel like we kind of made like a little group that was really cool. And I'm really excited for some projects that are going to be going on with that. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick because I don't know, I had such a great time there getting to know everyone and getting to see everyone. I just encourage anyone else who's out there, if you have the opportunity to go and socialize, it is so important, especially in this industry. So if you're trying to get into like acting or singing or anything like that, it's just a really great opportunity whenever you have the chance to go and socialize and meet new people of, a like mind. And it's a lot of fun too. So definitely take the chance whenever you get it. But I did want to talk too a little bit about that CRT training. I know you mentioned it a minute ago, but you've done it a couple of times, right? Have you done it once or have you done it more than once?
Yeah, I've done it a couple times, and it's
Okay,
very
yeah.
exciting. I didn't know what to expect the first time,
Hmm.
but I played the character of a mother whose daughter had passed away. And I woke up from a nap and saw my little baby that was dead, basically, and had to interact with the neighbor that came over and go into that state of shock. Like I was in complete shock to denial to a state of not knowing where I was.
Yeah.
It was extremely difficult because we did this for a couple hours, intensity of 5 or 6 different groups,
Yeah.
about 10 to 20 minute intervals of reenacting the scene of my
Mm.
child dying. So it was pretty. I You really have to go into the depth of the character of how it would be like if your
Hmm.
own child, and if you don't have a child, if your best friend died or someone died,
Yeah.
to use that as a way of getting there emotionally, but to also to see the response of the trainers that were looking at you, wanting to help, but couldn't help. They couldn't really touch you, but they could look at you.
Yeah.
And some people actually left the room because it hit home for them, so they
Wow.
left in the middle of the acting.
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
Painful for them to watch.
Yeah, it is such a very difficult thing. And I want to explain what the CRT training is just a little bit because I remember when it first got brought up to me, I had no idea what it was. I didn't even know that it was something that you could do. So, do you want to explain it just a little bit, like what it is?
The crisis response team. And so they need, for emergency situations, they're in training. So if there is an accident, for example, a car accident, they show up, they need to know how to interact with the person that got an accident. Or if, for example, in my situation where the baby died and they show up at the house of the parent that just called in for 911 or ambulance to show up, the team of people that has to interact with the mother that her daughter died. So it's training for them so that they know how to deal with those situations because they're pretty dramatic,
Hmm.
how to interact and respond rather to go into a level of shock.
Yes, because it can be very, they show up on these scenes where these crazy things have happened, traumatic things, like you said, waking up and you're like, the amount of shock and just trauma that that person is going through, they have to be able to be there for them and understand, what kind of responses to give and what kind of reactions they should expect from that person. And so I've done it a couple times. You've done it. We've volunteered as the to help with like the training and stuff. If you guys, everyone watching, if there's anywhere near you that you can volunteer for the critical response team training or crisis response team, it's definitely very hard. You have to go into the scene, and you have to give it, you have to make it as real as you possibly can because this is for them. They're going to go out there on these scenes where these things have actually happened. So, but it's very rewarding too, I think, just knowing that you're doing something to really help with the community and help them to know how to react when they go out into those situations so that they're better prepared and they don't just go into it, not knowing what to expect at all. But it can be very hard, like you said. I've had that same scene one time where you wake up and your baby's just gone. And what are just some, I guess, acting tricks that you use to really put yourself in that place?
Yeah, I used a substitution of someone that
Yeah.
I really cared about that I felt had passed away, and waking up and seeing them dead and imagining the depth and the horror of someone that you've spent the many years with is
Yeah.
dead, and having
Hmm.
to go there emotionally and
It's
not
yeah.
allowing fear or anything, just go there. You just can't think, you just have to go there. And I mean, it was very difficult. I was crying incessantly and then going
Hmm.
into shock, wondering what's going on. My baby's not dead. It's not dead. It's not dead to like, yes, it is. It's dead.
Hmm. Is that like, I know it's very emotionally draining. Like, how is that experience? And like, after you're finished with the scenes, like, how is it coming out of that? And, just going back into regular life and everything. Like, if you really put yourself in that spot, it's very difficult, I think.
Oh yeah. After it was over, it took me about a half an hour to just feel normal again after
Hmm.
crying incessantly for almost 2 hours. So it on and off. It was very emotionally draining, but
Yes.
also
Yeah.
invigorating to know that I did accomplish something to
Hmm.
help people. And it
Yes.
helped people learn how to respond to these crisis situations. So that was very rewarding.
Yes, it is. It is very rewarding. It's draining in the moment, but after there's kind of like, yeah, like a rewarding feeling where you're like, I know I did this. It was difficult. It was a hard task. Um, but I know that these people are better prepared now when they go out. I think that's very rewarding. What are some of your like favorite parts from the whole volunteering for the CRT? Like, what do you think was your favorite part of the whole experience?
I would say while I was acting, seeing the response of the people looking at me, some were didn't know how to address it or how to deal with
Yeah.
it, to know that it was affecting them as if it was in a real life situation.
Yeah.
So, I knew that I was being natural and authentically in the acting in the moment and responding off them in the moment. Because a lot of acting is responding naturally from
Yes.
people. Even if they don't say anything, there's thoughts that are going on in your head constantly, even
Hmm.
when you don't have lines. So,
Yeah. You have
yeah.
to keep it very active. And I really liked that about it too, was that it was very real and they're responding in the moment and your response, it's not scripted or anything. So it's all in the moment, very real, very raw. Um, so it was really cool. You said you've done it a couple of times. What are some other scenes that you've had?
Um, well, I did the mother again, and
A couple times?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, I must have nailed it. So, Um,
Yeah, I saw too. Some of the videos from when you did it were incredible. Like the amount of emotion that you were able to put into it, was really, really good. So we might show a little clip of that, you guys, so that you can see kind of her raw acting talent.
No, she's not okay. She's not okay. Please help me because my baby, she's not doing well. No.
But yeah, I just, yeah, the whole experience I think was very rewarding overall. It was very emotional, it was very draining, but getting to see their responses and know, um, getting to talk to the people after, because I remember when I did it, I talked to them after and they told me different things about like, oh my gosh, how this helped. They got to even ask me questions about like, when I responded to you in this way, like, was that helpful? Did that make you feel better? That way, when they go out in the field, they know how to comfort people, better. And it was, I think, like the conversation that I got to have with the trainees after, was really great because they got to ask questions that will better help them to understand how to react and what will, make people feel better when they're actually in that situation. I think that was really cool. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So we're about to wrap up. I do have one more question. And this one's kind of interesting, but what is one thing that you wish people knew about you?
Hmm.
It's a hard question, I know. And honestly, if you don't have an answer, that's okay. But I think it's a very interesting question if you do have an answer.
One thing, let's see, if they wish they knew about me.
Yeah. Maybe some people know it, but maybe something that you wish more people knew about you. Something that you want to just share with everyone. I don't.
I really have a heart for helping people achieve their dreams and their aspirations. I always try to encourage people and I try to stay positive and optimistic and that there's a higher truth in life than this, that they have a purpose, that people have a purpose. So I love for people to walk in their purpose. It brings me such joy and happiness to help others. And I
Oh,
have a strong faith in God and the Lord who guides me in all my decisions that I do. I really, everywhere I go, I consult the Lord with everything I do. And, and that's what led me initially to to this opportunity. And so I'm really faith led and I have a heart just for people. And I really want the best for everyone. I
I
really do.
love that. I love that. And that's so encouraging. And um I love meeting people who are so, driven by their faith. I love that so much. So I love that you mentioned that. And I can't wait honestly to just get to know you better and to see you in person again next time I'm out in LA. That'll be so great. But I love that answer. And now more people are going to know that. So that's really cool. Well, Nicole, I had such a great time today, and hopefully, we'll have you back on here later on. And hopefully, I'll be able to see you soon in LA. But, guys, for now, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, comment your thoughts. If you have any questions for me or Nicole, let us know, and we'll do our best to answer them as soon as we can. And thank you guys for joining.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
When you think you know someone, but you never really had a clue. All the things